Oh, this was a bad idea. Surprise! I have purple hair. Well, sort of purple hair. Can you even tell? Can you tell it's purple? Can you? Can you? This week I decided to do something super fun, and I went through my niece's sketches, and I thought, why not make one of these kids' drawings into a real life image? Like, what would a kid's drawing of a person look like if it was real? So that's the quest I embarked on this week. Also want to give a shout out to these Patreon peeps for the challenge they did this month. It was self-portrait month, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. To get started, I needed a reference image, so I used the actor who played Luke Skywalker in our latest Star Wars and mashed it up with my children's drawing. Right away, I wanted to take a little cutout of all his different features, then I got his face actually situated to fit pretty closely, and moved those features to fit right in place with the proportions, size, just where all of those little features belong on that little kid drawing that I have. So I erased the outsides, and then I went to work just doing more tweaking here and there. I used that stamp tool to kind of echo some of the skin and just get things a little smoothed out. I am not a Photoshop genius by any means, but you know, I do what I can with what I do know. So this is me just warping things around, trying to get it all situated, just kind of getting things drawn in on here. I want a really solid reference image when I'm just getting started, and then of course I'm going to just take away that drawing, see what we get in the end. And weirdly, sorry if you're a Trump fan, it just looks a lot like the Trump memes is what I was thinking. So I printed out my picture that I had just made. I also printed out the kid's drawing, and what I'm doing right here is the charcoal transfer drawing process. I've done this in so many different videos. If you want a full explanation tutorial, you can watch them. I will leave links in my description. Basically what I did was cover the backside with some charcoal. Usually I will use like a new pastel, but this is what I had on hand because I was in New York. And then I just traced over the top, and voila. I went over with the kids drawing next to just make sure I had a really solid picture of what the shape of the face looked like. And then, as I often do, I started off with acrylics, and later I move on to oils. The acrylics was just to get down a base layer of color, something to build on top of, so that if my oils were a little bit more translucent, I didn't have to wait for them to dry to build up my layers. I could just have the background color of the acrylics showing through. So this is where I went in and started with my oil paints. I went through some changes with this painting as I went along with it, because I was trying to figure out a balance of how much I wanted it to actually look like Luke Skywalker and how much I wanted to keep it true to the kid's image. And eventually what I decided to do was keep it the most true to my niece's drawing. And so as you see along this process, I'm going to be tweaking things further and further away from my reference image that I had created. But it was really helpful for me to have this reference, because at least for me, when I am working with something that's meant to be based in realism, I need some really solid framework to go off of, because when you're imagining details, sometimes things just get kind of lost. You get an inaccurate idea of what the colors should look like, or you get an inaccurate idea of how to do shading, how to represent lifelike structures in the face. And of course, this isn't the most lifelike structuring of things, but it was really important to me that while I was going with this aesthetic of this little kid image, I was also taking very seriously the idea of trying to bring it into a very realistic realm, to the extent that you can do that when your proportions are that of a 6-year-old's drawing. When I'm working with my oils, I try to get things as realistic down as I can, get the colors the way I want, but as you can see, the colors in here look a little bit peachy and a little bit light and muted, and the thing that I did in the end to salvage that idea was glazing, which we will get into later. But in the meantime, how are you guys liking this freaky face coming together? When I'm doing a really smooth transition of colors, creating a gradient the way I like to do it, as I've said in so many videos, is I get down my colors and then I will use a clean dry brush to just smooth over the top layer. And as you can see here, this is when I abandoned some of the more Luke Skywalker-esque features and took the plunge and gave him that really interesting fun neck. I think that was just completely necessary in the end. I really needed to keep it closest to the drawing. So lessons learned. That's what I did in the end. It took me a while, but you know, I think it came together well in the end because it gave me some detail work that I wouldn't have used from the actor, gave it some more realistic qualities. We added things like the beard and some interesting hair. Just finally had that layer of glazing on, which glazing is essentially just a small amount of oil paint with a large amount of medium, and I put in some more yellowy orange tones to kind of warm up the complexion. And this is our final image, side by side. Look at the bay. It's frozen. Ugh, freezing. Like, that doesn't happen. My hands, icicles. This is my last weekend. New York, I'm leaving tonight. I'm going back to Utah. I love you guys. Time to make more videos. Time to get back in action. Make life happen. Go make art. I gotta make art. Okay, love you guys. Oh, bye! Ow, my fingers.